It's a day of reckoning, Aquarius. This is your weekly oracle and tarot card reading from Born Without Boundaries. Coming to you live from my new home. Nothing's really set up yet, but really excited about everything. Thanks for all your support in my travels. There's always an extended, you guys know that. The link is below. Please do join me for that afterward. This is for Sun, Moon, Rising Aquarius, wherever Aquarius influences your chart or your life. But this is a day of reckoning. And I will say this, it's not a day of reckoning as in you're owning up or you're paying for crimes or shit like that. That's not what this is. You know what this is? Let me try to get, You know what this is? This is you kind of coming to terms with something's got to go, something's got to stay. And your criteria for what's got to go and got to stay has changed. I think that there is an opening and an awakening of sorts, a realization of what's important. And it's just helping you to prioritize everything in your life. This is coming off of almost a swing of energy that had you reeling for a while, had you going a little bit kooky and a little bit nutty to yourself, a sense of losing control, not having to think about control. You needed to test those boundaries. You needed to experiment and see. It's not even if, yes, of course, if things worked for you, but it wasn't even so much about do things work for me as much as it was about I just want to see. I just want to try. I want to be able to see. I want to be able to try. I don't want to have to I don't want to have to be confined to monotony. And so that's why I say the reckoning was really an internal reckoning, because there is that sense of how much of my experimental side do I have to give up for the side that is truly and completely committed to the bigger picture. What's better for everybody? Whether that everybody be your community, your family, or the two of us. Probably not business. This is more personal. There was a comparison of what you have to what others had, or a specific somebody else. And it pushed you to do things, say things, act in ways that were not maybe up to your moral standards, but at the same time, I don't know, because this could be the Libran in me, not really judging, not really like just trying to make everything work, trying to make everything fit together, trying to understand the pieces, not even worrying about whether or not the pieces fit into a puzzle. It wasn't about the big picture. And I think in a lot of ways you felt really confined by the big picture. And that could be, confined to your obligation of the big picture. And that could be a little bit of emotionally how, when Saturn goes into Aquarius full time next year, it happens in December, I believe, you will start to feel like the insistence upon, that Saturnian, You must do. This must be. Your focus always has to. You guys are naturally focused on what's better for the bigger picture. You guys are naturally focused on, the troubles of the people in your life or the people in your community or making things work. You guys are naturally focused on that. But there comes this rebellion. It's almost like this rebellious switch went off when you had to. It's like, don't tell me what I have to do. I still need to be in control of me. I am me. But I can't. It's like you didn't feel like it was you anymore. You didn't feel like you were being you because there was such an expectation on you to be you. And it was like, what? How awkward and weird is that? And that was the rub, man. That was the pressure point. Now you can apply this energy to a romantic relationship. Go ahead. You can also apply this energy to family issues. You are who you are until somebody starts to shake the finger at you, expecting you to be exactly who you are. And then that's exactly who you don't want to be, which is a real tricky kind of caveat to manipulating you. And when I get into the cards, especially when I get into tarot, I'll figure out if this was intentional manipulation. But there is this sense, Aquarius, of not feeling free, of feeling bogged down and heavy in those things that normally you delight in. And that was why you need a little bit of a break into the reckless, into the chaotic, into the experimental, into what everybody else said was taboo or the places that you weren't supposed to go. Because don't you dare commandeer who I am. No one gets to decide that but me. So it became a real sense of trying to fight for your freedom. And the irony is, if this energy had left you alone, if this person had left you alone, maybe even this competition that you felt you were in with somebody else, I'm picking up that vibe. That what the things that somebody else had started to wear on you and made you feel like, kind of look at your life as if somehow it wasn't good enough. And that really wasn't true. At all. But you did need to shake it. And the only way that you could shake it was to... the only way that you could shake it was to shake it. Was to do the unexpected. But the thing about you is that it didn't get too out of control. Because you do really like the world as you know it. That feels good to you. That's part of being a fixed sign. To maintain the maintenance of the common good. That's you. But God, the burden that could come along with that, especially at a time when everybody is using the common good as an excuse to commandeer other people's freedoms. And maybe that was the essence of the tremendous, at least esoteric burden that you have been experiencing recently, Aquarius. That everybody is using your mentality as an excuse to harm each other. And that's opposite of what your mentality is all about. It's to bring people together. It's to heal. Believing in humanity. A true transcendentalist in theory, understanding that there is greatness in humans. Absolutely. Maybe getting really upset when you see the opposite all the time. And that's why you got angry, pissed, and a little bit rebellious. You had a right. This is the chaos. You just gave over to it. And you didn't give a fuck. Wave it in the air like I don't care. My stink? You don't like it? You don't like the way it smells? Get the fuck away from me then. This is a sense of being who you are, loving what you love, without caring who's judging. You know, even if it doesn't make any sense. And there's a little bit of an intent here to create chaos, to create a sense of, to throw people off kilter. Because this is Sagittarius energy. Sagittarius energy, remember, the philosophers of the zodiac. Very, very interesting mentality coupled with yours. A sense of, you know, being philosophical and being inspired by not even getting to the point, but just finding and wandering. And the wandering was the point. Trying to test yourself in waters that were not familiar to you. It was the perfect time. Because people weren't going to follow you into the flame. They were too scared. And you knew it. So this is a sense of just throwing yourself into chaos. Like a moth to a flame. You just gave over to everything that it is that you really are. And you did it out loud. This is what came out in the past. This is why regaining your self-power, regaining your strength, also a sense of you knew somebody was watching. You knew somebody had eyes on you. Because this could also be the stalker card. Not real stalking. I say that in a colloquial sense, not in a literal sense. I'm not saying that anybody actually meant to do you harm. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that there was something, you knew eyes were on you. And they weren't owning themselves. They weren't owning their interest. But they were watching. And you knew it. You could feel it. But there's this sense of, instead of it making you feel good, it started to drain your energy. It started to make you feel like obligated to perform instead of just being able to have a fucking conversation with somebody. And it grew. It built up this tremendous pressure. This is Virgo energy, but very low, unbalanced, dissonant Virgo energy, because it's very petty. And it lets little things build up and become big things when they're really fucking not. So this is really petty energy. But maybe it was the little things that kept building up. It was those little things that became too much. They can become a very heavy burden. Tend to the small things. Trying to maybe take care of too much or handle too much. Those little things. In other words, life got nitpicky. Life got too detail-oriented. And it became a burden to you. Normally, you love looking at all the little details. But there's that sense of, but I don't want to have to. The details are only interesting when they're interesting, not when I'm forced into them. And maybe there's a sense of one at a time. That's what it is, because you don't really like to look at the world one at a time. You like to look at the big picture. But there is a sense of these little things kind of creeping up constantly to force you to give your attention specifically to that. And it was too much. You couldn't stand it. Time to heal. This is Kundalini energy. Coiling in your sacral, in your gut, in your energy. Coiling around. Twisting. Needing to come out. Like a poison. Needing to come out. There is something that has been building for a while. 5-5. This is the energy of change, whether you like it or not. Needing change. Needing to make change because little things had been building and becoming very tedious. Maybe boring, I would dare to say. To the point where maybe the eyes on you were exciting to you. It was a subverted kind of almost exorcism of all of this energy without having to really bring it into your real life. Knowing that people were looking, or a group of people were looking, or knowing that you had this new audience, or this new audience member, this specific person who was looking at you, to you, toward you. Like, it kind of helped to heal this pettiness, because snakes eat rats, right? Kind of helped to heal the monotony, the day-to-day, the boringness, you know, because this is very exciting energy. Ambush predator, just waiting to gobble it up. Somebody waiting to just gobble it up. Do you see the ambush predator here? Constantly waiting, looking, watching to gobble up the tediousness of day-to-day. You don't want any tedium. You want that tedium to go the fuck away. And it was exciting. I will say this, it was exactly what you needed. Even just to play the game. You know? To have that sense of sensuality, of being watched, and eating it up. But there comes a time when enough is enough. And even the snake gets full. And now this is dove energy, very Libran energy. And this Libran isn't judgmental, it's balance, it's justice. Justice isn't judging, justice is equalizing, bringing back the equilibrium, restoring peace, a sense of love, a sense of real love, a sense of holy love. Not unconditional, non-judgmental love that has come into your life or came back into your life. Now, I understand how this could feel kind of boring compared to that snake energy, that panther energy, that really physical energy. How this could seem really boring. But there was a call to come back. This is double Cancerian energy, which tells me it has to do with the home, domestic life, family, responsibilities. Letting go of any of the burdens or any of the bullshit. Clearing things out. Clearing out any of the tedious shit that was weighing you down. But also clearing out all... It could very well have been like that gut instinct of like, I gotta clear this shit out now. I gotta like clean the house so my parents don't know I partied here last night. You know, that kind of energy. Gotta get it out. Why? Because you didn't really want to hurt who you love. You really didn't want to do who you loved any harm. You didn't really want them to suffer, or you didn't want to end the relationship with them. But you sure as heck did need a little fun in your life. Just to blow off steam. And that's what you did. You were able to sort of transform yourself. Morph into something else. Swim in the water for a while, then come back up for air. And you needed to let that go in order to continue to be loyal. This was really interesting energy. Because this is a sense of really deciding that you know how to win the war. And you know how to win the war by nothing new happening. Or you won the war maybe against the status quo. Simply by realizing how much you have. And how much you're grateful for what you have. Look at this. This energy of this. They're both in reverse. They're still very beautiful cards. But this is basically figuring out and realizing... You have everything that you want, all the abundance. This is almost like, to me, the Ace of Cups. A sense of just, you don't have to go any further. Like, you're not taking a leap of faith, staying exactly where you are and realizing that you have everything that you need, exactly where you are. Fighting for it. defending it, wanting to preserve it, knowing how valuable it is. This is Aries energy. Mars, war, fighting, strength, perseverance, tenacity. Could be impulsive, but very demanding and absolutely certain of itself. But when it's coupled with this, there is that sense of finding that strength in stillness. Now that could very well be having like almost like a prodigal son, having to go walk away from something in order for something to become weird sound. In order for something, having to walk away from, like walking away from something in order to see just how blessed you were to have it. Or fighting for what it is that you have. Defending it. Let's get into the angel messages, because those are always a really important part of this process now. Oh, they got something to say to you. Lots, actually. Ooh. Now, you can call them spirit guides. Some people call them just messages from the universe. I do believe in angels. I do believe that these angel messages come through loud and clear. But whatever title, it's not about labels. So whatever title you like to put on it, let's start. Achievement. Take a little time to reflect on what you have achieved to date. It is often easy to forget where you started from and how far you've come. Honor and be grateful for this extraordinary journey that is your life. You've come a long way. You aren't where you started out. You aren't even close. You're in a much better place. You know, and there is a level, I think, in you that was not satisfied with all that you'd achieved. Once again, that's where it comes in, that part of the channeled message that I got, you know, constantly feeling like you looking and comparing yourself to somebody else as if you weren't good enough just as you. And that's just not true. That just was never true. Peace. No matter where you are or what you're doing, inner peace is always possible. All it takes is a subtle shift in awareness. Think love, and peace will follow. There was a resistance of some sort. Because a lot of times with love comes stillness, comes a calm, and we mistake that we get bored because the achievement of something is so much more exciting than the having of it or the maintaining of it. And it takes a lot of time for us to transition and grow so that we learn how beautiful it is to be able to have something to maintain. You know? A sense of learning how to be just as excited about keeping things in tune as it was to write the initial harmonies. Because once you write harmonies, now you can write them in any configuration because you know what makes something harmonized. So you don't necessarily have to be bored, though you do have to adhere to what harmonizes. And I just think at this point you got sick of the dissonance. Dissonance for the sake of just not having to harmonize isn't good enough. It really isn't good enough for you. Heart and soul. When making your decision, take into account what your heart and soul are saying. Sometimes the mind can deceive us. Choose through love, not fear. Somebody needed that message. I'm going to leave that one there because that was very obvious. I know somebody heard that. Adventure. Instead of seeing the current situation as an obstacle, try seeing it as an adventure. Explore all the possibilities. There are many more than you currently imagine. Instead of seeing things as either black or white, try to explore all the colors in between. You are up for a wonderful adventure. In other words, there is a sense of excitement and adventure right here where you are right now, in the maintenance of the harmony. It may have seemed a little boring. No, but I think in essence there is a sense of getting back to making your decisions from that place of true calling as opposed to that place of just wanting to feel something. Blue Angel, oh, I love you. I, Archangel Michael, am here by your side. I am all around you and will forever protect you. Remember this whenever you feel fearful. I love you, all is well. You are always protected. And this is a blatant angel statement of you could have gotten yourself into some serious shit, but we never would have let that happen because we love you and we want the best for you. And even when you're not looking out for yourself, we're looking out for you. So understand the angels done saved your ass. Whether it had been an ancestor that came in and helped you out, there was just that sense, Aquarius, of being guided and divine intervention there to protect you while you were doing all this craziness and chaos. Whatever they didn't allow to happen was exactly what you needed protection from. And whatever you are experiencing was the direction you needed to be shifted in. Archangel Gabriel, you will soon receive some positive news. All channels for clear and honest communication are now open. Keep an open heart and speak your truth lovingly without fear. This is the second card that's mentioned, without fear, without fear, without fear. So whether you rationalize it or not, ultimately what you were being driven by was a fear of something external controlling you and a fear of missing out. And neither of those things was true. And so the angels protected you as you ran from this make-pretend demon of monotony. This is the perfect time to go into the extended. I will see you guys in the link below.